Chris Van Vliet, thank you for sitting down with us once again. We have some pressing questions.
What have I signed up for here?
You're not getting out easy this time. You ready?
Let's go.
Chris, question one. Do you pay your guests?
How much did I pay you for that first interview?
Absolutely nothing.
I've never paid a guest.
That's awesome.
And I think that just stems from when I started off as a news reporter.
I was going to say journalists don't pay.
Yeah, it's just something that we just never did.
Yeah.
And there would be times when I worked as a news reporter when someone would say, yeah, I'll do the interview with you, but it costs X amount of dollars. And the TV station would immediately go, no,
we don't need it
now. I will say that there are probably 2 or 3 people that if they said the only way that I will do this is if you pay me X amount of dollars, I'd probably say yes.
Obviously, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. And those people are?
I've never done an interview with Sting.
Really?
And I don't know if Sting would do like a long form sit down interview like this. But if the only way to get him to do it would be to pay him, I would do it. So maybe we should start a GoFundMe page because I would love to sit down with Steve Borden.
Why haven't you sat down with Sting?
I just think he's at the point in his career right now where he doesn't need to do an interview, right? The lines, you've seen them at conventions.
Yeah.
They are out the door. They're hour-long lines.
Have you reached out to him?
I have not only reached out to him, I have met him. Oh. We had a very nice conversation off camera for 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
And he did say to me, I'll do an interview at some point in time, just not right now.
At some point.
Yeah.
At some point.
So it wasn't like, hey man, hit me up in a month, or hey, I'll see you next year. And that was last SummerSlam. That was in Cleveland last year.
Who else would you pay for? You said there were more than one.
Yeah, like I've never done a sit down with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've done some short interviews with him, like when he was promoting TV shows.
Right.
But I've never done a sit down with him. The problem is, I'm gonna sit down with Sting one day, or I'm gonna sit down with Austin one day, and people are gonna go, well, how much did he pay for that?
Yeah.
The answer will still be 0, okay?
If someone said, I'll do the interview, I don't feel like buying a plane ticket, hotel, would you pay for travel?
Yes.
Okay.
And that for me is more of just buying some of my time back. As you know, I'm a father. I have a little girl and a little boy, Logan and Cooper. So if I'm going to fly to Florida to do an interview, that means that I'm leaving them on one day. One day is a full travel day to go from the West Coast to the East Coast. Do the interview the next day. If I'm lucky, maybe I can get a flight out that night. So I'm gone minimum 36 hours. Yeah. And like you, I do all of my interviews in person. If that person says, I'll come to you so we can record in your studio, that just saved me a day and a half. So it's the exact same amount of money being spent, hotel and flight and Ubers. But if that person's willing to come to me and then I can control all the variables in the studio that I use in Hollywood, absolutely,
easy.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I get to sleep in my own bed. I get to say goodnight to my kids that night, get to see them in the morning. Every day of the week I'll do that.
Win, win, win.
Absolutely.
Everything. All right, Chris, 2 years ago when we started this channel, you wiggled out of this next question.
Who was your least, you notice the spelling, least favorite person to interview?
Wow, thank you.
That doesn't happen today. I want to know, I don't have a fancy board, who was your most difficult interview ever?
I feel like most people come in and they're their best version. They know the cameras are on, they know they're mic'd up, right? But I had one guest who was just, from the start, just rude and just disrespectful when the cameras were off and when the cameras were on. And that person is MJF. MJF ordered room service during our interview. I know, I love it. Like, we're halfway through the interview and
there's a knock.
What? But not only did the room service come and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, it got here early. No, it was like, oh, this is right on time. I'm hungry. And then he started eating it during the interview.
Like, that's so in character, though. That's so perfect. To me, that's why he is what he is. That's why, to me, he's the best heel in the business.
It's in character, but it's also, I think, just who Max is a little bit as a person.
So, wait a minute, hold up. Was he like that when the cameras weren't rolling?
So you know how they say in wrestling, like, the best character is like you turned up to 11?
Yeah.
I feel like Max is just that at 10 all the time, and then maybe he turns it up a little bit more.
Just one notch?
Yeah, one more notch. He threw a piece of toast at my head.
I love him though. I love watching him. I'm so happy to see his success.
He's
in
so
the new,
talented.
Yeah, the new Happy Gilmore that recently came out on Netflix. The wrestling business needs, in my opinion, MJF.
It doesn't bother me to say nice things about the work that he does.
Right.
But MJF as a person is just, what you see is what you get. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, that's cool
Have you only done the one interview with him?
so far.
Will there be a second?
Yes. And I spoke to him not long ago.
Okay.
He said, when I win the AEW World Championship again,
Really?
I want to come back on your show.
Really?
I said, okay.
I reached out to him and asked him, sent him through text, hey, love to have you on the channel. And I appreciated his answer. His answer was no, not at this time. I respected him saying no. I hope you get him for the second time.
Me too. And I hope that it goes better than the first time. That was 6 years ago.
This next question, it's not me asking it. Don't get mad. Don't blame the messenger. Comes from Reddit. I loved listening to Chris Van Vliet's interview for years, and he seems like a good guy.
Sounds like there's a butt coming.
There, you nailed it. But I've been noticing he's becoming more of a Fed butt licker since 2023.
They said butt liquor?
Yeah, they said they wrote butt licker.
Wow. Well, what's
I didn't know if it was two T's in butt licker. Evidently there is.
the thing is, up until about 2020, about up in 2022, 2023,
Yeah.
I hadn't done really any WWE interviews. And I was doing interviews with anybody who was willing to say yes. And I don't know what changed, but then I got the ability to do interviews with WWE, and it was like, it's amazing. For years, the answer was no, and now the answer is yes. But if you look at my channel, even over the last month or two, I've interviewed people from WWE. I've interviewed people from TNA.
Yeah.
I've interviewed people from AEW. The thing about my show is I sit down with people that I'm interested in talking to.
Absolutely.
And that has what it's always been from the very start. Because so often we're seeing people at their very best. We're seeing them with all their accomplishments. Where were you at when things didn't work
And
out?
we're at your worst.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And what can I learn from that?
Having access to the WWE and their roster, I think it's game changing though. How did it come about?
So as you know, I worked in TV my entire career. So the door in, the way in used to always be, we'll run this on the TV station as well. And we did. We would run a clip from it on TV. Raw was in town, SmackDown was in town, WrestleMania was around the corner, Royal Rumble, whatever it was. We'd air a clip on TV, and then the raw unedited interview is what you would see on my YouTube channel. That's how my YouTube channel started. When I left my TV job in 2019, there was no in anymore. There wasn't, this is gonna air on TV. It was just, this will be on my YouTube channel, which at the time had 100,000 subscribers or whatever. And the answer was just, oh, if it's not gonna air on TV, no thank you. AEW was still really good, TNA was still really good, but WWE was just saying no. I was freelancing for the CBS affiliate in Las Vegas, and I still do. And I just kind of sent one last Hail Mary. And I said, hey, the Royal Rumble's a few weeks away. Could we promote it on the TV station? And they said, yeah. By the way, would this also run on your YouTube channel? I said, yes, it would.
As a matter of fact,
If that's okay with you. And that was it. I just shot my shot. They said yes. And I went, okay. And it was an interview with LA Knight.
Oh, it's a good one.
And that was it. If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
As we did our interview for your channel, as we do this one for mine, we're sitting in what's known as the TV hotel. The hotel the WWE uses at pay-per-views for talent. You're staying in this hotel to interview WWE talent. Is that their doing?
They're on a very tight schedule, as you know.
Absolutely.
So they were like, well, they're going to be at this specific hotel. So if you could be there, it would make things a lot easier. That's not always the case.
But do they make their talent available for you at this point?
Sometimes.
Okay.
A lot of times I'll meet someone and they'll be like, hey, I'd love to come on your show sometime. Okay. So then we'll go through the proper channels of like, hey, so-and-so said they'd like to do my show. How does their schedule look? Can we try to line something up?
Don't want to ruffle any feathers. You have a relationship that's good now. You want to continue.
But this is the case with all of the companies. So I have an interview with Mike Santana on Saturday that I'm pumped for. I love Mike. But that also has to go through, hey, TNA, are we able to do this? Yes, we can. What's Mike's schedule look like? And then we line that whole thing up. So the conversation always begins with, is this person available?
Right.
Is anybody available? Okay, great. Let's go from there.
I'm sorry you were called a bootlicker by BoxCon.
I thought it was a butt licker.
Butt licker. Was it a butt licker, boot licker? I'm sorry you were called any kind of liquor. In this business, adapt or die. Now, when you sit down with someone from WWE, do they have guidelines, conditions, things they can't talk about?
I don't think this is specific to WWE. This has been the same case with WWE, AEW, TNA, any company.
Okay.
A lot of times it comes down to, when is this interview going to air? All right, so if we're talking about the event that's going to happen this weekend, that's very different than talking about it after the event's happened.
Right.
That person may have a championship on their shoulder during the interview that by the time the interview airs,
Gone.
it's not there. And like you, I'm trying to make the interviews as evergreen as possible.
Yeah.
So that if someone tunes in 6 months from now,
right,
the content's still relevant. I'm not talking about things that are happening in this exact moment right now.
Yeah. On that same note, have you ever had to cut a segment or a piece of your interview out of a guest request?
It's very rare, but it has happened before. And I think that sometimes it comes from a point of like, you're talking for an hour. Yeah. And something comes up in conversation and maybe it didn't come across the way you wanted it to come across. Yeah. Or maybe you said a little more than you should have said, or maybe you didn't put that person over in the way that you wanted to.
Yeah.
But it has happened before.
Or maybe you talk about Shelton's penis.
WrestleMania 30, I interviewed Hulk Hogan the next day. And he mentioned that The Undertaker had been taken to the hospital. He's like, oh man, like, can you believe the streak was broken? The Undertaker was taken to the hospital. That didn't come out as news till years later.
Yeah.
That the Undertaker was concussed, went to the hospital. Vince apparently went to the hospital with him. I was told like, hey, that's not public information, and honestly, we don't know how Undertaker's doing. Could we leave that part out? And I went, oh, okay.
No problem.
Yeah, sure. So I think that there's things that are sensitive in nature like that, but it's a pretty rare thing that happens.
Yeah, I've only had one guest that we've interviewed hit me up afterwards and asked me to remove something, and that episode has never aired and probably will never air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's odd for us too.
I've also had times, and I'm not going to say who's involved here, but I think someone did a little bit of character work. You know, we were just having a conversation like this.
Yeah.
And then I think they said something that was in character, but then people might perceive it as it wasn't in character.
Gotcha.
And it was definitely taking a dig at someone.
Gotcha.
And they're like, I don't think that's going to be received well.
Yeah.
What do you think? And I said, you tell me.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you feel that strongly about it, that people won't know if that's you or the character, I can understand that.
And I love that you're respectful.
I've had a lot of people that are like, if we talk for an hour, you're going to like edit it down. It'll probably be like half an hour. I'm like,
and you're like,
oh, no. Like, when we hit record, that's it.
Yeah.
And then when we hit stop, that's the end of the interview.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation.
I want it to be like someone is eavesdropping in, like they're sitting next to us at lunch and they're at the table next to us and they get to be kind of privy to this conversation. Right. That's what I want it to be. Now, Maven, there's something that I've wondered since you put a video out about it. You talked about how gifted Shelton Benjamin is. And I'm just curious, how does he feel about that? Like now that knowledge is out there.
You know what, Chris? I'm gonna answer that question, but I'm gonna wait and answer it on your podcast.
Ah, love it.
And to catch that, click the link on screen.
It'll be a very big interview.
It'd be massive.